The stars were quiet, just like always. But then, something changed out far on the edge of known space. A small, dying planet sent out a desperate signal. A single, pulsing SOS. Weak, but real. The voice behind the signal was full of fear, speaking. In a strange alien language, the words didn't matter. The desperation did. Most civilizations didn't hear it, and those who did, they ignored it. The Galactic Council marked it as non-critical. They had other concerns, politics, trade, diplomacy. No one had time to answer a cry from a backwater world with no value dot, but Earth wasn't like the others. Earth didn't. Forget what it meant to struggle. Deep under the ice crust of Europa, inside a hidden listening post known only as Post 7, a single Terranet, I caught the signal. It wasn't loud. It wasn't clear. But it was real. The AI didn't question. The order it had been given long ago. If any distress call is received from an unregistered alien species, it must forward the message without delay to Black Command. And so, in silence, it did dot thousands of light years away. Inside Earth's most guarded base, Commander Rex stood over a dark table where the message was now displayed. He listened twice. Unknown species. Requesting aid. Coordinates. Confirmed. He tapped the table once. Get me Ghost Fleet. An officer raised an eyebrow. Sir, that's a Deathworlder unit. Are you sure this needs them? Rex looked at him, his face calm. I don't send Deathworlders to help. I send them to make sure no one needs help again. Back on the Council world of Delner, news of the distress signal had barely made a ripple. Ambassador Tillix, a long-necked, scaled alien with silver eyes, waved a hand lazily at the report. Another dying race. If they can't defend themselves, they're not worth saving. Some in the chamber nodded. Others said nothing. Fear of war was greater than compassion. One junior diplomat, a quiet female with dark purple skin, whispered, But ... what if someone else answers the call? No one responded. No one thought anyone would. They forgot about Earth. Meanwhile, in orbit above Mars, a black ship began to move. It didn't appear on public records. It didn't follow standard routes. This was the Revenant, a Terran Deathworlder battleship. Powered by technology Earth had refused to share with the galaxy. Inside it, 12 elite humans geared up silently. Their armor wasn't shiny. It was scarred, worn. Real. Each of them had answered over 100 calls before. Each of them had survived those calls. This time, though, it was different. There was no mission name. No diplomatic objective. Just a location and 4 words. Respond, secure, punish. 3 days later, as the ship neared the coordinates, the crew saw it. The planet was in flames. They saw no fleet protecting it. Just wreckage alien ships burnt, cities turned to ash, life signs fading fast. This wasn't a battle. This was a massacre. Pilot Nia clenched her fists on the control stick. This wasn't a war zone. This was a colony. The Revenant's captain, an older man with a scar across his face, didn't blink. He gave one command. Gear up. Full landing force. Take prisoners if there are any. On the surface, a lone survivor, a small 4-eyed alien child, was hiding in a broken pod. Her skin was cut, her breathing shallow. She had been the one who triggered the signal. As she looked up into the smoke-filled sky, she saw something cut through the clouds. A black ship, silent, sharp, not like the others. It descended fast. She expected more pain, more fire. Instead, she saw tall armored beings step out human. One of them knelt beside her, removing their helmet. A woman's face, hard but kind. The human pulled out a small medical pack, placed it gently on the child's wounds, and spoke slowly. You're safe now. They heard you. Far above, The Revenant sent out a single encrypted message to Earth. Confirmed. Genocide in progress. Enemy forces unknown. Survivors found. Deathworlders deployed. Judgment begins. The stars remained quiet, but something had changed. The Revenant did not stay in orbit. It vanished again, like smoke in wind out, but Earth's eyes stayed open. Unknown. To the galaxy, Earth had hundreds of secret satellites scattered through deep space. They weren't for spying on all eyes. They were for watching the darkness, the places no one dared go, where silence could mean a coming war, or worse, a dying voice. From a hidden observation station near the edge of the Coran expanse, a Terran. Analyst known only as Ash watched the footage captured from the ruined world. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't famous. But he was trained to see what others missed. He leaned forward, staring at the slow-motion scans taken by the Revenant before it left dot ships. Not just wreckage-specific burns, shapes and fragments. And on one twisted hull, barely visible under. The soot, a symbol. His eyes widened. That's not random piracy, Ash whispered. That's Cold Fang work. He pressed a code into the console. Command, this is Outpost Vega 3. Possible Cold Fang fleet link confirmed. This wasn't an accident. This was a planned extinction. The Cold Fang were ghosts, a secret military cult formed from scattered mercenaries, rogue fleets, and exiled warlords from across multiple species. They didn't follow laws. They didn't obey councils. They only followed one rule. Only the strong survive. The weak feed the stars. For years, they were believed gone, hunted down, and scattered. But now, the signs were clear. They were back. And they had chosen a quiet, undefended world to make the return. What they didn't know was who was watching. Back on Earth, Commander Rex stood in the war hall beneath the Rockies, watching multiple screens light up with live intelligence. Ghost signature confirmed, said the AI next to him. Cold Fang fleet trail established. Estimated rendezvous in sector 9 Beta. 72 hours until full regroup. Rex didn't flinch. Do we have visual? The screen showed a partial image, blurry outlines of large warships moving through an asteroid belt. Fast, unmarked, but deadly. They're not hiding, Rex said. They're waiting for someone to stop them. He turned toward the black screen at the end of the room and spoke just 3 words. Activate Phantom Protocol. Hours later, across a dozen hidden bases on Luna, Mars, and the Void Station near Pluto, the Deathworlder corps received the call. Each soldier got the same message. You are being summoned. Sector 9 Beta. No diplomacy. No delay. Operation. Final. Warning. They didn't cheer. They didn't speak. These weren't loud warriors. These were trained ghosts, humans, raised on the deadliest parts of Earth, who survived things most couldn't imagine. They were the reason Earth was feared across the stars, even when Earth stayed silent. In deep space. The Revenant wasn't alone anymore. It was joined by 2 sister ships, the Judicator and the Black Whisper. All 3 were cloaked in active stealth. Each ship housed less than 100 troops, but those troops could do more damage than entire battalions. Inside the Black Whisper, Commander Lena checked her squad. No shining armor, just matte black suits, lined with adaptive systems and bone-sealed. Structure. She didn't need a speech. Her team already knew the stakes. New orders, she said. The Cold Fang think they own the night. Let's remind them who invented it. Meanwhile, back on the ruined planet, the alien child was now safe inside a megpod aboard the Revenant. She had no name for the humans, just called them the Black Giants. Through a translator device, she finally spoke. They came without warning, she whispered. They burned our skies. We had no weapons, they said. We were just practice. The crew listened in silence. One soldier, tall and quiet, simply said, "Then let's make sure they never practice again." By the time the Galactic Council heard about the Cold Fang's return, it was already too late. Their sensors picked up something strange. 3 human ships moving with impossible speed towards Sector 9 Beta. One counselor blinked. "We didn't authorize that." Earth never asked for permission. The ambassador beside him muttered, "They never do." Another asked, "Should we stop them?" The room went quiet. Finally, someone whispered, "If Earth is sending the Deathworlders, then maybe the Cold Fang should be the ones to worry." The planet had a name once. Now, it was just Ash Dot when the Revenant returned. It didn't come for war, not yet. It came for answers. Its scanners swept across the lifeless cities, broken towers, and blackened forests. Every surface was marked by violence. There was no pattern, no mercy. The attackers hadn't come to fight. They came to erase. Pilot Nia flew low across the dead land. From her cockpit, she saw skeletons of buildings, fields turned to glass, and roads torn by something heavy tanks or mobile siege engines. She tapped the comms. Whatever did this didn't leave in a hurry. Her commander's voice replied. They weren't afraid of being caught. On the surface, Deathworlder teams spread out. They wore adaptive armor and moved without a sound. They didn't need orders to understand what had happened. Entire neighborhoods vaporized. Underground bunkers breached with surgical precision. Civilian shelters melted through from above. One soldier, Cole, knelt beside a crater and scanned the edges. His visor highlighted fragments metal from rail weaponry. Illegal energy residue. Class 9 weapons, he said quietly. These weren't pirates. These were military grade. He stood slowly. They executed a test run on a peaceful planet. Another Deathworlder growled under his breath. So Earth wasn't the only Deathworld anymore. Far beneath the ruined capital city, a deep echo returned from their scans. A heat source? Possible survivor? Someone asked. No. Bigger, said Lena. That's a Cold Fang bunker. They opened the ground like peeling a shell. The bunker doors were sealed from the inside, but Terran tools didn't ask for permission. The doors fell inward. And what they saw inside made even the Deathworlders pause. The bunker had held prisoners. Cages lined the walls. Some were shattered. Others still held burned remains. Non-combatants, younglings, elders, even wounded civilians. Many had been executed with clean shots. Others torn apart by automated drones. In the center was a large screen. Cracked but working. It played one thing on a loop. A Cold Fang warrior, helmet off, staring into the camera. His skin was pale. His teeth sharpened. His eyes burned with madness. This was only the beginning. We will purge the soft from the stars. Only strength will rule. Earth hides behind peace and them. We welcome death. We are Cold Fang. The humans didn't flinch. Didn't speak. They just copied the footage, encrypted it, and sent it back to Earth Command. It would be played for every Terran leader, soldier, and civilian within the hour. Not to spread fear. To light a fire. That night, a storm rolled in over the dead planet. Real rain. Nature's silent protest against the horror below. Nia stood outside the Revenant, staring at the sky. Her hands were clenched. She whispered, "We didn't come in time." Her commander stood beside her. "We came soon enough to make them pay." Back on Earth, Commander Rex watched the bunker footage in silence. When it ended, he stood and addressed the room. "Make contact with the Council. Inform them Earth will now act under Article 7. Someone in the room flinched. "Sir, Article 7 authorizes war without declaration." Rex's eyes didn't blink. "Then war is coming." He turned to the AI. Send a fleet, not just one ship. All of them. Deploy the Ghost Fleet, activate the Quiet Line, and launch Operation Iron Fall. Elsewhere in the galaxy, in a floating black citadel hidden in a nebula cloud, Cold Fang commanders reviewed reports. Not one of them laughed. The humans found our message. Another leaned forward, serious. And they didn't respond? The third smiled. They will. But they'll come late. And by then, we'll already be gone. They were wrong. That same night, across multiple star systems, Earth's deadliest units moved in silence. Ships that weren't even listed on official records left dry dock. New weapons untested, unshared, were mounted. Earth did not broadcast its anger. It let the stars carry its silence. Until that silence would break in fire. In the ruined bunker, the alien child slept peacefully for the first time in days. Her nightmares were fading. Outside, Deathworlder soldiers stood, watch eyes always scanning, never sleeping. One of them whispered. They thought no one would answer the call. Another nodded, his voice like steel. They were wrong. The Cold Fang weren't hiding anymore. In the Valos Drift, a place most ships avoided due to dangerous gravity fields and broken moons, their fleet had gathered. 30 warships, painted black and blood red, floated in perfect formation. They were old ships, but upgraded, modified, brutal. Inside their lead dreadnought, a Cold Fang commander named Vark stood with arms crossed. He snarled at the hologram. In front of him, no one dares challenge us. The council hides. The weak tremble. Earth will be too slow. He turned to his second in command. Prepare the next target. Let the galaxy see that kindness ends in fire. But as he spoke, an alert sounded. A silent sensor pinged. Then another. Then 10 more. The Cold Fang's fleet wasn't alone anymore. Above the Valos Drift, space cracked. Not with light, not with sound, but with shadows. From behind the debris belt, 3 human stealth destroyers uncloaked at once black. Fang, Silent Star, and Wraith of Earth. No warnings, no hail, just presence. The Cold Fang officers scrambled. How did they find us? Vark bared his teeth. Let them come. We will crush them. He didn't know those 3 ships were just the beginning. Because at that moment, behind the system's dying sun, a Terran assault carrier broke through with a war jump. The name painted on its hull read, Dreadhammer. Inside the Dreadhammer, elite Deathworlders stood silently in rows. Each wore armor that didn't shine. Their helmets had no decoration. Only purpose. Some had scars across their faceplates, not from training, but from wars where they returned as the only survivors. Commander, Lena stepped forward. The enemy believes we're here for a fight, she said coldly. They're wrong. We're here to erase them. No one spoke. No one needed to. The dropships launched. On the outer rim of Valos Drift, the Cold Fang set up defense lines across the broken moons. Cannons turned. Drones launched, but they didn't. See what hit them. The first Deathworlder team, Unit 9, landed in complete silence, their ship cloaked until touchdown. Their boots touched the gray rock, and in seconds, their weapons were live. They moved like predators in a maze. Efficient. Cold. Focused. One by one. Cold Fang outposts were neutralized. Their communications were cut. Their power stations were sabotaged. Their command officers disappeared, pulled into the dark by silent black-armored shadows. In one Cold Fang stronghold, a lieutenant screamed into a communicator. Unknown force inside? We're losing control door by door. Then his voice went silent. When Cold Fang soldiers reached the room, all they found was smoke, and the words "we answered" burned into the wall. On the other side of the battlefield, Vark stood watching. As 3 more Terran ships arrived, he looked furious, but behind his eyes, there was fear. These aren't diplomats. They're ghosts. He turned to his fleet. Wipe them out. But before he could give full orders, the skies opened up in flame. The Terran Dreadhammer fired first. Its primary cannon launched a silent beam of molten energy through space, cutting through one cold fang cruiser like paper. A moment later, the Wraith of Earth followed with a barrage of tracking rounds that tore apart enemy shields. Cold fang fighters tried to respond, but their targeting systems failed. Human ECM, electronic countermeasures, blinded them. Their shots went wild. One Cold Fang commander shouted, "They're not fighting like a fleet. They're moving like a mind." He was right. The humans didn't follow predictable paths. They flowed through space like a single beast, fast, brutal, and merciless. Back on one shattered moon, Lena's squad reached a command center. The doors were locked. Reinforced, she tapped a small device against the wall. It blinked once. 3 seconds later, the door exploded inward. Cold Fang defenders inside were ready. They had heavy weapons, thick armor, and numbers. It didn't help. The Deathworlders moved too fast, too sharp, too trained. In under 30 seconds, it was over. The last Cold Fang soldier dropped his weapon and raised his hands. Lena approached, visor down. "Tell your commander," she said. Earth heard the signal, and now we're answering all of them. Far above, the Terran fleet finished off the last Cold Fang ships trying to escape. One tried to jump to warp only, to vanish in a flash of light as the Judicator fired a gravity anchor, dragging the ship into itself and crushing it instantly. The battle was not just a response. It was a message. You don't ignore an SOS when Earth is listening. Asterisk. The battle was over. But fear had only just begun. Across the galaxy, military networks buzzed with strange reports, encrypted, unclear, and full of confusion. Words like unknown Terran fleet, disappeared Cold Fang forces, and ghost warships appeared in council channels. One message, intercepted and leaked, spread like wildfire. Entire Cold Fang battle group neutralized in less than 1 hour. Earth did not negotiate. They didn't warn. They just came. Council leaders tried to calm their people, but in quiet rooms, behind closed doors, they were terrified. They had seen human strength in diplomacy, in medicine, in peacekeeping. But now they saw something else. Earth's answer to true violence. On the shattered moons of Valos Drift, fires still burned. Survivors from the Cold Fang forces, what few remained, crawled through debris. Some begged for mercy. Some cursed their enemies. Others simply waited for death. But the humans were already gone. The Deathworlders never stayed after a response. They left silence in their place, in the ruins of a Cold Fang war room. 2 junior officers from a minor species discovered what remained of their leadership slain. Armor cracked open, weapons useless. One of them stared at the walls, where the words were carved deep by blade. "You were warned." The younger alien dropped his weapon. "Who are these humans?" His companion replied without looking up. "Not warriors. Not conquerors. Just the ones who show up when no one else will." Back aboard the Dreadhammer, the Deathworlder squads gathered in the debriefing chamber. None of them celebrated. There was no joy in what they had done. Only focus. Commander Lena looked over her team. She pointed at one screen, showing fragments of the next Cold Fang fleet movement. They were just the first, she said. More are out there. A younger soldier, new to the course, asked softly, "Why don't we warn the council? Tell them what's coming." Lena answered without emotion, "Because they had their chance. They ignored the signal. We didn't." Back on Earth, public news outlets had just begun reporting the operation. The headlines were sharp and short. Earth responds to alien SOS with force. Terran Deathworlders annihilate Cold Fang Strike Fleet. When humanity listens, the galaxy trembles. Citizens across Earth and its colonies read the headlines in silence. Some were proud, some afraid. Some simply nodded, as if they had always known this was coming. A mother on Luna, holding her child, whispered, "Someone has to stand when others fall. That's what it means to be human." Meanwhile, the Cold Fang survivors who had escaped regrouped in a hidden base in the Veiled Sector. Their new leader, Drake, slammed a data tablet against the wall. "We had the advantage," he growled. "They were supposed to be weak." A scarred veteran leaned forward. "They weren't weak. They were quiet." Another added, "And now we've woken them." Drake stared at a map of the stars. "Fine. If they want war, we'll give them one. Call the other factions. Tell them Earth has made its move." His words echoed across the dark halls like poison dot, but behind his anger was fear. Aboard one of the returning Terran ships, pilot Nia sat alone, reviewing helmet cam footage. She stopped on one frame dot. It showed a Cold Fang soldier raising his weapon toward a human only to freeze. Not because he was outgunned, but because of the look in the human's eyes. Calm, focused, unbreakable. Nia whispered to herself. "They thought we'd be like them, but we're not." In deep space, across unknown corners of the galaxy, new signals went out. Alien races who once mocked Earth now went silent. Some locked down their borders. Others sent messages of alliance. A few whispered apologies through encrypted channels, because now they knew when Earth answered an SOS, it didn't bring hope, that it brought justice. In the blackness of space, among the drifting wreckage of Valo's drift, a recording device floated silently. Inside, the last Cold Fang message was still playing. "We will purge the soft from the stars. Only strength will rule." But the message was unfinished. It had been cut off. By a single word, inserted by the humans. Denied. The council met in panic. Dozens of alien leaders gathered inside the grand spire on the capital world of Tarnis. The air was heavy, the tension sharp. Holograms flickered above the circular chamber showing images of Cold Fang wreckage, destroyed. Bases and dark warships with Terran flags. The room buzzed with angry whispers. They struck without warning. Earth ignored protocol. Terrans used stealth weapons we can't even track. One elder slammed his clawed hand on the table. "And what if they turn on us next?" The council speaker, old and gray-skinned, raised his voice. "Earth didn't attack us. They answered a cry for help we ignored." The room went quiet. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Commander Rex stood before a live global transmission. For the first time in 10 years, Earth had issued a declaration of retribution. Ancient protocol used only in extreme cases of genocide. The message was clear. No politics. No excuses. To those who silence the helpless, we are coming. To those who burn the weak, we are watching. The galaxy is full of voices. Some whisper, some scream. Earth listens to both. The broadcast echoed across space. On mining colonies, cargo ships, trade stations, even deep inside old war zones. Beings of all kinds watched in silence. Some wept, some cheered. Others, especially those in power, trembled, because it wasn't just a message. It was a warning. Earth was not offering help, that it was offering judgment. Back at the ruins of Valos Drift, Deathworlders recovered Cold Fang tech. Inside a smashed control center. They found hidden logs, war plans for more attacks. Coordinates. Civilian planets listed as targets. Weak worlds. Peaceful colonies. Unarmed stations. Lena stared at the screen. "They weren't finished," she said. A soldier beside her nodded. They had 10 more targets, all soft, all quiet. Lena's voice turned to steel. Then we won't wait. We move now. The message was sent to Earth. 10 targets identified. Cold Fang plans confirmed. Requesting immediate approval for pre-strike justice. Approval came within minutes. Black Command replied with just 2 words. Granted. Erase. Far across. The stars, the Cold Fang leaders regrouped in secret. But even in their underground chambers, there was unease. Their soldiers had heard rumors. Stories of human teams that struck in the night, leaving no footprints. Only silence. Stories of planets saved before the first missile hit. Stories of human fleets that didn't broadcast their arrival. Only there. Impact. One Cold Fang general snarled. We can still strike back. Earth has pride. We use that against them. Another, younger, whispered, No, it's not pride, it's purpose. The older one laughed. Then what do you suggest? We kneel? No, the younger replied. We run. In space, the Deathworlder. Fleets were already moving. No banners. No flags. Just cold steel and firepower. Each ship carried one mission. Eliminate threats before they begin. No warnings. No mercy. On one colony world, as night fell, a group of civilians looked up and saw a strange light streak across the sky. No explosion followed. No panic. Just a single clean message that arrived hours later. The Cold Fang threat to your planet has been neutralized. Sleep safely tonight. Earth saw you. At the council once more, a different kind of message arrived. A video. It showed a Cold Fang commander being captured unharmed but afraid. Behind him stood a Deathworlder team, silent and still. The camera zoomed in as the prisoner whispered. They didn't speak. They didn't shout. They just stared at us. And we knew Earth wasn't here to fight. Earth was here to finish. The council speaker leaned forward, voice low. We made Earth sit at the edge of the galaxy. We called them wild, dangerous, primitive, but they've changed. No, another said quietly. They didn't change. They just stopped waiting for our permission. And still, the messages from Earth spread. On the hull of every Deathworlder ship, 5 words were etched in dark metal. We hear what others ignore. Back aboard the Dreadhammer, Lena stood beside her command console. She looked at the galaxy map, now marked with red stars where Cold Fang plans had once lived. And slowly, each red dot faded to black dot, because one by one, Earth erased them. Asterisk. It started with a whisper dot in a small trade station near the rim. A merchant told a frightened customer, A Cold Fang ship tried raiding us last week. It vanished before it fired a shot. They say humans were waiting in the dark. The whisper became a story. The story became a warning. And the warning became a truth no one could ignore. Earth never forgot. Earth never forgave. The Galactic Council issued a public message. Peace is restored. The Cold Fang threat has been removed. But everyone knew the truth. The Council didn't remove the threat. Earth did. They didn't ask for permission. They didn't need support. They simply answered and ignored SOS and ended a nightmare. Across hundreds of systems, alien citizens left silent gifts near Terran embassies. Flowers, lights, carved stones with alien words for thanks and honor. One young alien girl wrote on her city's walls, We cried for help. No one came until they did. On Earth, Deathworlder units returned quietly. No parades, no cameras. Just a silent walk back into the shadows they came from. They weren't heroes. They weren't interested in praise. They had done what had to be done. In one training center, a new recruit asked an old soldier, Why do we answer calls no one else hears? The soldier answered without looking up, Because someone has to, and we're built for the silence. The Cold Fang didn't try again. Their commanders stopped broadcasting threats. Their ships stopped moving in groups. Their leaders turned on each other, afraid that Terran eyes were watching, and they were not in secret corners of space. Earth satellites now floated unseen, not as invaders, not as rulers, just as eyes waiting for the next cry for help. 1 year later, the ruined planet where it all began grew quiet again. Plants returned. Clouds gathered. The world-healed Dash, slowly the alien child who had sent the SOS, now lived on a human colony. She learned Earth languages, drew pictures of armored soldiers. When asked why she always drew black warships, she smiled. Because when the skies burned, they came. They didn't promise anything. They just held my hand. In the great archives of the galaxy, a new entry was recorded. It read, "First SOS answered by Deathworlders. Outcome, threat eliminated. Method, unknown. Survivors, protected. Message left, none." At the bottom of the entry, one line was added in red. The humans are listening. Many planets now sent their emergency signals not to the Council, but directly to Earth. Some whispered them in the dark, afraid of being overheard. Others spoke them proudly. "Earth, we ask nothing, except that you hear us." And they did. On a quiet Terran base floating near a red dwarf star, a small ping echoed across the bridge. A new signal. Unknown species, unregistered world. 3 words repeated over and over. "Please help us." A human officer read the message, then turned to the fleet commander. He nodded once. "Prepare a response team. Send the black line." A junior tech looked up. "Should we notify the Council?" The commander gave a small smile. "No, the galaxy remembers now. We're the ones who answer." And in the void between stars, a fleet of black Terran ships changed course. No banners, no sound. Just purpose, and the quiet, final message that followed them wherever they went. ***, we are Earth. We heard you.